Welcome to Cameron's Conversations podcast. And actually, it is a conversation this time. It's not just a monologue from me, which is always nice. We have got Louis here. Louis is going to talk a little bit about his weight loss journey. I'm going to talk a little bit about mine and some of our experiences, good and bad, and what we kind of learned along the way. There's probably quite a lot of things we learned along the way, but I will get you to start, Louis, and talk a little bit about. I know you've gone through a couple of different phases of weight loss, but you even went through quite a recent one because you were gallivanting around the world. I think that's the right word. For 6 months in the with some interesting stories, like being stuck in the hold of a ship or something like that, which was like
Yeah.
hot. Yeah, remember that one? I can let you tell that. And all sorts, but 6 months of travel, and off the back end of it, obviously moved into a bit of a weight loss phase. So yeah, do you want to run us through that kind of experience for you?
Hello, by the way. Thanks for listening. We'll start right from the beginning. We'll go all the way back to when I was like, I don't know, 16. I was skinny as anything. So really, really, really skinny. My mum always used to call me a whippet. She always used to say that I have had like hollow legs and all of that jazz. But I was like not very confident in what I looked like, so I really, really, really wanted to get kind of stuck in with the gym and things. Didn't know what I was doing. Obviously, that's what I mentioned in the previous episode in terms of bodybuilding.com. I was just on that all the time, looking at what to do, what not to do. I think I was doing bro splits 6, 7 days a week. Uh, I think then I kind of fell out of love with it because I didn't see any progress because obviously I wasn't looking at my food one bit. Then I got back into it post university after I did a degree in chemistry. Still don't know why I did that, but there we go. And I remember, again, I just did exactly the same things, really. It was a case of trying to get a bit bigger, trying to lose a bit of body fat all at once, which obviously we know probably isn't the best idea. Nutrition wise, the my nutrition knowledge at this point was I knew protein was good for me. So this is probably one of my most embarrassing stories. So strap in. So what I did was after my sixth gym session that week, I cycled home and I popped into Tesco and bought a tray of chicken thighs. I loaded the oven up and popped these chicken thighs in a little tray, roasted them away, and then decided to eat these 6 or 7 chicken thighs all at once. And the volume of grease that was with them was quite significant to the point that my stomach couldn't handle it, and basically I projectile vomited everywhere, and put myself off chicken for genuinely a year and a half. That's not a joke.
Yeah.
Whenever my mum decided to cook chicken, I had to leave the room because I couldn't handle the smell of the grease.
Yeah.
And then, then began the Joe Wicks phase. So I started getting really
Oh
into sort of
God.
Joe Wicks cookbooks because I knew there was a little gap in my knowledge in terms of nutrition. So I decided to go down the Joe Wicks route, whereby I decided to cook all of his meals and get all of his books and do some hit workouts. Even went that far. I know,
Oh
embarrassing.
God, you did the hit workouts too. You went
Yeah,
hook, line, and sinker. That's not just dipping your toe. That is like completely overboard.
yeah, I had a cat at the time called Pablo, and I joke in some of the videos that I make. I joke saying, "Oh, you give your pets PTSD from all the jumping and shouting and stuff." Genuinely, that cat has never been the same. um, so anyway, obviously, I saw absolutely bugger all change yet again because I wasn't tracking calories. I had no idea how many calories I was consuming. I was a bit confused as to what my goal even was because I wanted to get a bit bigger, but also lose, get a six pack and whatever. Just couldn't do it. I spent years and years and years just not doing anything, just kind of half in, half out, not making any progress, feeling like I was putting loads of effort in, but obviously just not in the right direction. And I was just getting pissed off with it all, super frustrated. And then eventually I got myself a coach who basically just simplified it all for me and told me, right, this is what you're doing, this is what we're going to do, this is how long we're going to do it for, yada yada yada. And lo and behold, within a few months, I remember a photo was taken me on of me on the beach, and someone had commented on it saying like, "Oh, Louis looking all right." I think that was the first time that I was like, "Holy shit, this is
And you
actually
can never let
working."
that go, by the way, guys. The way it works with like the first compliment when you gain a bit of muscle as a guy, like it never leaves you. like that might be on your gravestone now. That will stay with you forever. You might even have it tattooed. It's so important to you. It's like such a, you take that and it just makes you feel like 10 times taller, doesn't it?
100%, 100%. And I'm only 5'10", so that really helped. So yeah, started to really get into it at that point, and I kind of understood what I was actually doing at that stage. So got to a point where I was passionate enough about health and fitness, so that's why I started sort of coaching as well. And then begins the photo shoot era. So I'm sure listeners who are aware of us will have known what happened back then. But decided to again sign up with a different coach to take me through photo shoot prep because I'd never been that lean. I'd never been, like that, just that lean basically. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it because I want to know what it feels like, because I think that can probably help me put myself in shoes of sort of future clients and whatnot. So anyway, I was doing CrossFit at the time as well. So I was training CrossFit like 5-6 times a week whilst dieting on pretty low calories. I'm not going to lie, because obviously it was a photo shoot. So
that sounds like a dream setup. Smashing yourself with CrossFit on poverty calories. That's exactly what you want.
yeah, genuinely, I think weeks 10 to 12 were the worst in terms of it had such low energy. I got to the stage where like some CrossFit workouts I felt like I couldn't even complete. I did, because obviously, I've got an ego to, keep up with and whatnot, but
And then
it
you got
felt miserable.
and cried afterwards for half an hour. You just have a little break
Yeah,
afterwards.
precisely. Saying that, in the 12 weeks, I wanted to kind of prove what we speak about all the time. Like, you can get in shape while still living your life. Like, I still went out. I think there was a pub golf trip at one point. There was a holiday that I went out for, I think I went to some like DJ event and things like that in the 12 weeks. And obviously, yeah, still got in really good shape. Shall we talk about the tan? I don't know. The tan was pretty bad, wasn't it?
We need to touch on the fact that, I mean, I'll talk about my experience of this as well because it's hilarious. But yeah, getting for a photo shoot, the problem is that, like, in essence, Louis and I are very pasty people. There's just no beating about it. Like, we don't look like we've seen the sun, and I'm pretty outdoorsy, so it just doesn't seem to have. It just can't get a tan. The problem is when you do like a bit of a fitness photo shoot, the camera flashes are quite bright, so it washes you out. And unless we like go to the photo shoot and all you can see is our eyes and the back of the wall because it's a white background, like we needed to have some sort of a tan. And this is very much like by the photographer, like, yeah, you have to go and do it, even if you're like, is it worth it? Like they're like, yeah, go do it. So in light of that, Louis got a fake tan. I had to do this as well. What was that experience like?
Oh, so like harrowing, I think is probably the word that comes to mind. Nightmarish. No, so it got all organised for me by another coach who was also doing the photo shoot. I was expecting a salon or whatever you call it, a proper legitimate business. That's what I was expecting. I rocked up to the address and it was residential road, so I was like, this is strange. Is this right? As I approached the front door, a lady walks out who looks like a different ethnicity to what she was actually born. So I was like, I think we're probably in the right place. Anyway, so then go in, and obviously the woman kind of gives me all the instructions and stuff. I see the bottles laying on the floor of tan. The label of bottles is just intense. And at that point, I'm like, oh, here we go. This is going to be terrible. I took some once she'd finished, she said, leave it on overnight, wash it off in the morning, you'll be ready, you won't get washed out by the lights, etc., etc., it'll be great. Got home, the Airbnb that I'd booked, white sheets, white towels, I felt terrible. And I took a photo of like just my face while smiling, and put it in my client group chat, and they were all like, you look like Ross from Friends in that tanning episode. You look exactly like him. You need to wash it off now, otherwise bad things are going to happen tomorrow. You can't leave it on overnight. Really good job I listened to that advice, because when I washed it off, it didn't look right. I looked like I was going to get cancelled. And in the morning, fortunately, it had kind of it had settled down a bit, and yeah, it was all right in the end. It turned out fine, but disaster
And
averted,
Louis got a
fortunately.
fake tan every time since. Every time
Yeah,
since.
yeah, basically, yeah, yeah. I loved
So
it.
loved it. That's him. That's why he looks so tan now. And this is the intense one. But yeah, I think so. I mean, you've obviously been through like different phases, and what we would like say is like the reason we talk about the photo shoot stuff. So for a bit of context, I have a not dissimilar journey. I kind of went through like a really significant weight loss phase. Ironically, I was doing my nutrition degree, and also I was a PT in a gym. And unfortunately, running your own business is rarely full time hours anyway. It's often a lot more. And doing a full time degree simultaneously with literally a completely full client list sounds really good on paper, and people were always like, "Oh, it's amazing you're doing both." The reality of it was actually quite grim. It was horrendously long days. I remember being in, and I always used to laugh because I'm pretty sure the security guard thought I'd come off a night out to study, but I would cycle to like the uni library at like 5 in the morning to like study on the weekends, because I was so time poor. So I would be in there like just before 5 in the morning, and the security guard's like looking at me like, "You just come from a night out, should you be here?" But no, I was there to study. There was no nights out because there's no time for that. But I was running a business and obviously doing that, and started to slip into some pretty bad habits around nutrition. And it was just out of convenience. Like I often talk about this to clients, like all convenience foods all the time. The irony of studying a nutrition degree while I did this, because I was often out the door at 5 in the morning and I would rarely get back before sort of 10 at night, started to catch up a little bit where I just started to gain weight and gain weight and gain weight. And over the course of 2 years, basically my weight crept up. It didn't really shoot up, but I ended up in a spot where I was not comfortable at all. And this is often where like the body positivity piece people always talk about, like, oh, you should always feel comfortable in your own body, but you get to a point, none of your t-shirts fit anymore. You're going up a size, and then they're getting tight too, and you're PT in a gym. It ain't a great look. So I think that was a kind of point where I realized like actually I need to make a bit of a change. So I ended up dropping the grand total of 20 kilos, and also doing a photo shoot as well, which wasn't my intent, to be clear. Like when I first started, I just did not want to feel like a bag of custard anymore. Like I felt bloody awful. I saw a photo of myself when I was like up a hill. So I got a photo at the top of the hill because obviously I love hill walking, and I'd felt pretty terrible climbing that hill anyway, because even though I was relatively fit, like I was so much heavier than I'd ever been. And then I kind of saw that picture, and that was my turning point. I was just like, I just can't carry on this way because I don't feel good in myself. And it started to impact my confidence and things quite a lot. Like I just didn't feel good day to day. And I'd never really been someone who'd struggled with body image. So yeah, cracked on, dropped 20 kilos over about 9 months. So other than 2 weeks of being on holiday, one in Italy and one somewhere else, I think Isle of Arran, I dieted for 9 months straight, which was a long time to diet, but dropped a crazy amount of weight in that time. And it was pretty life changing for me. And I think for a lot of clients, it was quite inspirational as well, because I started to look the part again, which was good for my confidence. But also, I think I showed a lot of people as well. Like, and I was super busy at the time because I was still doing both my degree and running my business. And I think it really gave me a good experience of what it's like to lose weight whilst a bit overwhelmed, kind of permanently overwhelmed. Like, that anxiety when you're at uni and you wake up in the middle of the night that you think you have a deadline due the next morning. You don't, but you just get that anxiety. Just living with that for like 3 years whilst also running, it's not the one. But it gave me a really good experience of what it's like to be overwhelmed, knackered, because I could never get enough sleep because I just didn't have enough hours in the day, and still managed to drop all that weight. And the thing that was interesting about it for me, and you probably find this at points yourself too, Lou, is like, when you're losing weight, maybe not the tail end of the sort of photo shoot phase, maybe not those last few weeks, but in general, your energy levels, your concentration, your mood's better because you feel better in yourself from the moment you wake up. I really noticed it, especially that first 10, 12 kilos I dropped. I noticed such a change in just like the way I felt day to day, and I handled stress better, and I was much more motivated. And that was obviously very helpful for being at uni as well. So yeah, we've both been through quite significant weight loss journeys. I mean, how much did you lose over because your photo shoot prep was pretty aggressive, wasn't it? You pushed pretty hard for that kind of weight loss phase.
Yeah. So I lost 10 kilos in that 12 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, and then, I mean, my weight's always kind of been, for me, it's not been about drastically reducing my weight. I've never been on a massive weight loss journey as such. But in terms of losing fat and obviously like the body recomposition type of thing, that's more what I've done. Um, and as I said, like I've come from a place of just the whole like frustration and confusion, and I don't know what the bloody hell I should do, but I'm getting shouted at by 17 different people all telling me that their method is the best. So yeah, we definitely understand that. And don't get us wrong, like we still, even though we're coaches, we still go through phases, as Cameron hinted at the start, in terms of when I was traveling, still go through phases of like where we kind of not lose touch with it, but we slip out of routines for whatever reason. We do still find it tricky, but then ultimately we have to just remind ourselves like the advice that we give our clients, it works for us as well. And I think I did kind of lose a little bit of touch with that whilst traveling, as you'd expect. Traveling for 6 months, and I think
Yeah,
that final month of
what you'd
traveling.
expect, right? 6 months away out of routine, like that's a long time, even if you've got good habits built. It's a long time to have to like keep those habits in place when you're like, I'm traveling. No one knows me here anyway. Like,
Yeah, I think the last month I didn't go to a gym for a whole month, and I just felt awful afterwards. So I was like, right, I need to pack it in and sort my shit out. And yeah, got to a point now where I'm back to kind of feeling really happy and stuff like that. So we understand how different like lifestyles and different phases in your life and stuff like that it happens, but we have that belief that there's always something you can do. There's always something that you can do to kind of keep moving forward, and even if you do lose touch of it, like you can rewrite it and kind of start getting back on track as well. You just need to kind of sort of look at yourself in the mirror a bit and be like, nope, come on, I can do this. you know?
yeah, 100%. I think that's it. That's kind of what I learned when I was so stretched doing it. It was really good in a way to try and lose weight in such a busy phase because all the time, like there was loads of moments where I was like, oh, I could just do with a snack to get through. Like if you've ever written an essay, and unless you love writing essays, in which case that's a medical condition. There's something up there. But like I think the thing is like you're sat there sometimes late into the evening. Often for me, super early in the morning. There are many other things I'd rather be doing on a Sunday morning than writing an essay. So the temptation to like snack to eat, like I've experienced all those things, and I think it's helped me so much in the way I coach clients, and I'm sure you'll feel the same, Louis. Is like I do think, and it sounds a bit harsh, but I also think this is fair, that sometimes when I'm on social media, I see a lot of coaches talk about weight loss that have never done it themselves. And I just kind of think, like they're, if you've got someone who's like 6'4" and dieted on 3,500 calories and they've had to lose 4 kilos, like, and that's great. Like if you've kind of grown up and you've had such a good relationship with food from the get-go that you've never been overweight, that's a fantastic thing. It's not a negative, right? But it doesn't give you the same experience as a coach. Like that's not what my clients have generally gone through, right? And everyone's different. I have clients that have struggled with their weight most of their life and have finally got a handle on it. I've also had clients that have maybe had kids and then struggled with their weight, or hit the menopause and maybe struggled with their weight, and it's different times, or had life stuff. But for a lot of people, like it is an ongoing thing, and having experienced that kind of like weight loss journey ourselves, it gives us a lot of context as a coach. And I think it's quite important, like if you are someone who's looking to lose weight, whether you work with us, whether you work with someone else, like it's so important to work with someone who actually has context of like what you're going through, what it's like to be busy. Because if you're a 20-year-old male PT who's like living in their parents' house, who has no responsibilities, does 10 PT sessions a week, like often those people are not the people that are going to be best geared to help you with weight loss, because they've never been through it themselves, and they've certainly never been through it in the context of like, having a busy life and having responsibilities. And the same applies here. Like I'm talking to a couple of clients the other day about things like Slimming World and Weight Watchers, where people have gone to these things, and you're speaking to someone who, again, it sounds really harsh, I feel like I'm going in on people here and I'm not mean to, but like they've obviously been through a weight loss journey, but then if they've ended up regaining all of that weight, and actually they're now in that position where they're like a leader of a group, and they actually really struggle with their own weight, like you have to question that a little bit. And like you said, to be clear, I'm not saying you'll never have to diet again, because we both like have gone through phases of that. That's going to happen sometimes, short phases. But if someone's kind of like stood there, they've lost 4 stone, regained all of it, and they have a terrible relationship with nutrition, like that's not a good place to be in. Because probably the thing that's good for Louis and I is like we've been through weight loss, but we also have a good relationship with food. like we can go for a meal out, and I definitely am not stressed about that. But that doesn't mean I haven't seen a vegetable in a month either. There's like a really important balance where like it's not just about the weight loss, it's also getting into a better place with your relationship with food too. Like your story about the custard creams always cracks me up, because that's like a perfect example of like Louis' custard cream obsession that he's I think now conquered. Maybe you haven't conquered it, but
No, I have now. Fortunately, this was back. I think just after university, it got to a stage where every single day I was polishing off a packet of custard creams, which, by the way, are the best biscuits. I don't want to hear this whole Bourbon's better. They're not. Come on, grow up. Um, so I was polishing off, a whole packet of custard creams, and I was just like, who is this helping? This isn't helping anyone. Like, I looked at myself in the mirror, I was like, just brushing the crumbs off myself, like,
that's right. You've
come
got to
on,
get
Louis.
them all off there.
Yeah. I was like, come on, mate. Like, this isn't right. This isn't okay. So I kind of set myself a bit of structure, some rules to kind of follow. I didn't ban biscuits. I didn't ban the custard creams. I just said that I'm not going to include them in the weekly shop from now on. If I was craving them that bad, I could pop in the car and go to Tesco that evening and demolish a packet if I really wanted to. But obviously, I'm inherently lazy. I'm one of the laziest PTs you'll ever meet. So of course, I never really got into the car to go to Tesco because I was too comfortable. So it's one of those things, like, we've all been through those elements of like cravings and having, binge episodes and that sort of stuff. We understand it all.
Yeah, the things that you just slip into, like you don't intend to, like, this is the thing I often talk about. You don't intend to inhale a packet of custard creams, but like it becomes normal. Like, it's amazing. This is one of the things I find, and I say a lot to clients, it's amazing how bad habits can become so normal so quickly.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
so easy to slip into. I'll have a packet of custard creams like every second night, and it just becomes routine, and suddenly, like, it doesn't even, you barely notice you're doing it.
Yeah, so had to stop that quick, but we know what it's like. We really do. Even though, and again, I don't know if I've mentioned it, but like my journey wasn't necessarily a case of like, yeah, like I said, it wasn't necessarily a case of seeing a number on the scales or wanting to lose loads of weight. It was more about confidence for me
Yeah.
and feeling more confident in my own skin. So that whole like body positivity, like, I get it. Like, I get you should always feel confident in yourself. That's a great fairy tale. That doesn't exist in reality all the time. Like, sometimes you have to do something about it. And if you're constantly being told, no, you should be happy with the way you look, even though you don't feel happy, well, it just makes you feel worse.
Yeah,
So
I feel
it
like
doesn't help.
sometimes it's quite like frustrating, isn't it? It's almost like not being listened to. Like, I was speaking to a client about this recently, who they were saying that it's like sometimes it sounds like a nice thing to say, and like in a way it can be positive. Like, we always stress this, like, there are definitely, like, we're not saying we're against that body positivity. It's actually very important. Like, you can be in great shape and not be happy. It doesn't There's not a guarantee. But I think dog in the background there. But I think that, like, it's so important to remember that, like, a lot of the time you do have to make a change to actually feel a bit of a change in your confidence in these things. And that's exactly what I was going to ask, like, next, Louis, as well. It's like, for me, the biggest benefit was the confidence piece. Is you just felt more like myself, felt much happier, felt much fitter. Because, by the way, when you drop 20 kilos, life is a lot easier. Like, see, if you ever run a kilometer, well, I mean, it'd be odd to run 1K, but like, just running or like cycling or walking up a hill, everything is a lot easier. And that's from someone who's already doing the whole fitness thing and training and all the rest of it. But that was, I assume that Lou's just fed the dog a custard cream to quiet him down there. That's what I reckon's happened in the background.
Hopefully, loves a bark. This dog, he absolutely loves it. Poor
So,
old Harvey.
always good. I have a dog in the background as well. But yeah, so I think there's a thing for me, like, the big change is confidence. Like, if someone was to be like, what's the biggest impact you had, it's always that. So was that kind of the same for you? Just like your sense of like self-confidence that kind of changed the most when you dropped weight?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Just not only in myself, but like what I was actually doing as well. So like, this was before coaching. It just gave me a bit more confidence in terms of like work and like, I don't know, chatting to women and all that sort of stuff. And then obviously, yeah, when I started coaching, it started giving me a bit more confidence in terms of like, I don't know, you kind of start walking the walk whilst talking the talk as well. So gives you a bit more belief in what you're actually doing, and it kind of, I think it adds value to your advice as well, because people will, clients will sign up and they'll be like, yeah, this guy knows his shit because of yeah. Unfortunately, we're in this stage with fitness. It's one of the things that I don't like about the fitness industry. You are judged on the way you look, and I agree that I agree to an extent. You should look the part to an extent, but in a world where everyone just injects steroids anyway, it's kind of like there's some nuance in there, and
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm smart enough to explain it, but
yeah.
it's it's just a bit complicated. Like, you wouldn't go to your doctor and be like, "Well, I'm only letting you do keyhole surgery if you've done it yourself.
Yeah, if
If
you've
you've
had
had it done
fucking
yourself."
hysterectomy and you've had operated on you by yourself, like, it doesn't. I know. It
Yeah,
makes
like
me.
looks aren't a qualification, but it does help with my own confidence and my own belief in what I'm coaching about and stuff like that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly, and I agree with that. I think there is like a, if someone says, do I think that a coach or PT or whatever should look the part? Or, I think the answer is yes, but I think what that part is can be pretty varied because like I have friends that are like running coaches and like they obviously do strength and conditioning and stuff. So do they look like bodybuilders? No, but unsurprisingly, they're much better runners than a bodybuilder would be. So it's not hugely relevant. I think that like there's a balance to be had, and I agree with that. It's like, you're going to go through different stages, and like right now, like I've done a little bit of muscle gain phase, so I'm not the absolute leanest I've been, but I still feel like I'm in reasonably good shape, and in the next 6 to 8 weeks I'll probably look a good bit leaner, and probably to some people's perception like more like the quote unquote part as a PT, and like I don't think I'm ever not in that position, but equally like there's probably points that, and it's same for you, Louis, after like coming away from holiday, it's not like you were massively out of shape, it's just that you didn't feel your best. And I think that that's something that like all comes back to that confidence thing as well in terms of what we do as coaches. But I think it's also nice maybe to hear that even coaches like feel that pressure. In fact, if we're honest, there's always pressure on people because it's cultural, but I think as well, like in the fitness industry, there's always a pressure. It can be really, really easy to get caught up in it. I think as I've gotten older, you just care less because you're maybe in better shape than you were when you were 20, which helps. But then also you stop focusing and comparing to others so much anyway. But it's normal. Everyone feels that, and I think everyone's confidence is improved through weight loss as well. So yeah, I think that was just a nice. That was a bit of a kind of meandering kind of podcast to talk a little bit about our experiences as coaches on our own weight loss, and hopefully just to make it feel a little bit more familiar. Because I think for a lot of people, sometimes it's this idea that like we were like Louis and I both were like born with six packs and they were just like had incredible genetics and never had to work very hard for it and always absolutely loved training in every bit. And you're kind of hearing here like Louis was doing like bloody star jumps in his lounge, giving the cat PTSD and working really hard at something that the crazy thing is like this is a good kind of bit of context is Louis could have kept doing exactly that, following Joe Wicks's meal plans and doing star jumps in the lounge for the last 5 years, and he still wouldn't be in good shape. That's the thing we're so passionate about is you do have to be doing the right things. Don't be wrong, like he would be fit and he's probably not going to have the worst nutrition ever for sure, but would he be in the shape that he's in now, or would he be happy with his training and enjoying it? Well, definitely not, right? So you have to put the effort, you have to put the effort in the right places as well. So that's maybe a good like take home from this too, is like if you have put a lot of effort in and something hasn't panned out in terms of nutrition or even training, like you're not the only one. We've been there too, and we've done that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't be enjoying my training if I was still doing HIIT workouts. That's for sure.
No, and the cat wouldn't either. The cat wouldn't either. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. As well as always, if you want to suggest a topic, you're welcome to do that. Pop a message on Instagram, and we're open to kind of talking about anything and everything. We're doing a few of these podcasts a week now. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. And otherwise, if you are interested in one-to-one coaching, just jump to the link in the show notes, and we'll see you next week. Speak soon.
Cheers, guys.